As an African American woman, I am aware that race is just based off of my skin tone color with a social meaning behind it. I know that it changes with each person. It is totally different from my ethnicity and my culture. I'm aware from many side conversations that I am not expected to graduate from college or be able to attend a prestigious university like the University of Tennessee due to my skin tone color. You might wonder why I say that. My senior year of high school, my advisor told me that I would be right back because I couldn't be on a campus that just had this many white people. He said I wouldn't thrive. I also know this because every time someone says, "Hey, where do you go to school at?" and I say University of Tennessee, they have the most shocked look on their face. I know that because of my race, then my mother will have to have the race talk with my younger brother about certain things he can and cannot do. I know that all people are not racist. I know that people in this world act like racism has ceased, but it hasn't. The fishbowl activity that we did in class exemplified how hard it really is to openly express how different races feel about an opposite race. The fishbowl activity brought about many questions about Caucasian race as well as African American race. And what I learned from that is African Americans are not the only race who feel stereotyped. Caucasians do too. Because most African Americans see a Caucasian person and assume that person is racist, that person is their enemy. And that is really not always the case. Carol Mosley said, "Defining myself as opposed to being defined by others is one of the most difficult challenges that I face," which is very true. And that fishbowl activity exemplified that to the T. The article we read, "The Invisible Knapsack," explained just how unaware we really are for the privileges that we have. The article was really about the white privileges that Caucasian people have. The privileges were so prevalent, but at the same time, they're very invisible because most of the things you really just wouldn't have considered a privilege. It's just the way of life, the way it is. White privileges shouldn't be considered privileges. It should be the way of life for everyone in America. One example of the white privilege was that I can buy posters and postcards with featuring people of my race. Most African American people can't do that. But honestly, it's more races in the world who won't see that. Not just African American people. In this class, I would have to say the most important thing I learned was that race is an issue. And it is really important. But it is not the most important issue in America. And as a future educator, I don't want to think that race is the only issue because it isn't. The issue is that we aren't really able, or that we don't just respect different people. People who don't think like us, people who don't act like us, and people who don't look like us. That's the real problem. It really has nothing to do with everything that happened 20, 30, 40 years ago. Because the problem is now. And as a future educator, I want to be able to respect diversity on all spectrums. From kids to exceptionalities, to children who live in poverty, to children who don't speak English. I want to be able to respect all of that and be able to work with each and every child and make a difference in people with all these types of differences, because that's really what's most important. I love being African American, and I know that some days are harder than others being black. But I honestly feel like a child with autism, or a child who can't understand anything I'm saying because I speak English and he speaks Spanish and no one has really took out the time to teach him how to speak English. It's just a problem as I feel about being black and dealing with racism. So that's what I've learned over the course of the year. And that's what I want to put. That's just how I want to be.